Hello everyone and welcome to this Hymo lap guide for Spa-Francorchamps here on Le Mans Ultimate. I am Gianmarco, pleasure to meet you, and I'm one of the engineers of the Hymo team in Le Mans Ultimate. I'll be giving you a lap in the BMW. We're going to look at this qualifying lap to hopefully give you some tips, some help to help you in the races here on Spa in LMU, especially since it's the real, race week for the WEC Championship here on Spa. So I'm quite sure a lot of you would love to drive some Spa right now. So hopefully this video is gonna be helpful for you, and we can go straight into the lap. As you can see, I'm preparing the exit from my start of the qualifying lap. I really like to use as much track as I can, and then set the car straight basically at the exit here so that I get the maximum traction. It might seem a very small thing, but just to get that extra few hundreds before turn 1 might be crucial in split 1, split 2, whatever online. Margins are very tight, so usually it's very good to do this. And of course then we are heading up in the main straight, and we're going towards turn 1, which is quite an important corner since you'll basically flat out all the way after turn 1. And I would say the main thing here is to judge the braking zone. So as you can see, we have, I would say, two references, at least two references I use: the 100-meter boards and the Total Energies advertisement board there. And usually with my FOV, I know that I have to brake as soon as the 100-meter boards disappears from me. And looking from the outside, as you can see, my stoplight basically turned on at the exact same time as the 100-meter board. So I would say brake at the 100-meter board, and then usually, ideally, you want to open the corner as much as you can, so staying on this white line as much as you can. But sometimes you have to cut a little bit. For example, in this lap, probably you're gonna see I did engage ABS a little too early, and that made me realize that I had to go basically trying to get the apex early, otherwise I would go wide. So as we can see here, basically I'm using the 100% brake pressure, and this triggers the ABS immediately. So my mistake in this case, but as you can see here, it can be recovered, and staying on the ABS. And then I realized that I need to cut to get to the apex, trail braking all the way into the corner, and actually having probably a very good line to then open up the corner and the exit as much as you can. Ideally, you want to be probably on this curb. Doesn't make much of a difference. I would say you have two lines here, the one I'm using now and the one with half of your car inside the curb. I wouldn't go too close to the wall because the curb has a little dip in it and it might unsettle the car. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I would say it's better to do like this, or to do half of the curb. And as you can see now, I'm not neither on the brake nor on the throttle. But as soon as I understand that I basically went by the apex, I start immediately to go on the throttle. And in this case, it's all a matter of trusting your car, trusting your abilities, and of course trusting your setup. And having good traction out of the corner is crucial because of how much time we're gonna do in full throttle. So here 100% on throttle, and a little bit of correction that probably wasn't me, was the TC kicking in. And then we are basically going down towards Eau Rouge, the most famous corner, but also one of the easiest. I wouldn't lose too much time here. It's very important to cut this first first curb here, and as you can see here where the curb stops, this is basically my reference point to actually go on the right side. So I start turning right as soon as I get by this curb. As you will see here, you get the apex, you get to the curb, and once you're here, you know that basically you have to go straight, and you will reach the second part of the chicane, the Eau Rouge, sorry, and you have to be careful for the off track. But this is basically it. I would say a quite simple corner, but since it's part of sector 1 and you're all flat, here you can lose and gain like those few hundreds, 20 milliseconds, something like that. That might be crucial for your lap time. And then we are just going flat out all the way down the Lecombe straight, and we're coming towards probably the one of the best section and most important section of the track. So the start of sector 2 here, this chicane is massive. It's very important because you get the first one wrong, you basically lose for the entirety of this complex. And first thing you have to take a look at is of course the braking point. Here references as well, the curb and the 100-meter board. Basically I've been driving this track for forever and with any car, and one thing I actually understood is that whenever car you're using, the curb is always a great reference point. Being that a Formula 1 car, being that a GT3 car, GT4, hypercar, whatever, you see the curb, you start, braking there, and you know you're gonna make the corner almost perfectly. So we're coming towards the braking point, and as soon as the curb starts, you see that my brake lights turn on, and this time here as well, sorry I went a little bit too fast, big braking here, 100% brake pressure, so it's engaging the ABS here, but then you want to release it while you're trail braking, because of course of trail braking and also because of how tire physics works in LMU. So as soon as you release the brake, the rear will start to slide a little bit. With this current tire model, at least, you can really abuse it. We are speaking, at the beginning of May, so might be that the new update will change these, but it's been like this for the last few months. And so as soon as you release the brake, consistently, the rear of course gets light and the car starts turning with the rear, so you just start sliding a little bit, and that's massive on LMU. Like, you don't have to be that precise and that smooth, but you can really trust the tires to have grip, and this extra rotation gives you a lot of lap time. So we're trying to achieve that as well here, and we're trying to achieve also to cut this first apex as much as we can. This is basically free track to use. You don't have an off track here. The risk of going off track is basically non-existent because of the gravel, so we try to cut as much as we can to also open up the left side of the chicane, and where it's very, very important to cut here as well, and trust in this case your setup, because if your setup isn't good enough, you would lose a lot of time here on the curb bouncing on it. You have to cut it. As you can see, the car is pretty compliant on the bump, and then you really need to open up going left again to then cut on the right side here. As you can see, shifting to third and then applying a little bit less throttle just to get the rear, instead of being loaded 100%, loaded that 95, that the car rotates a little bit faster. So as you can see, I'm using the throttle a little bit to just get rotation, and then cutting the apex nicely, and just 100%. Be careful of track limits, but you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be alright. Then coming towards this corner. Another time the curb is our reference point, and also the asphalt that changes. So you want to brake when you see the curb, as you can see here. And now it's very important to be on the inside. So I'm just gonna go a little bit faster here, you know, just kissing the apex nicely, being careful and being patient. This first extra turf, you don't have to bear in mind this one too much, but the second one you see there, that's the reference for when you have to get back on power. So you just wait patiently, you're on the brake, you don't want to lose too much, you know, the line, and also just applying the brake a little bit gives you the extra rotation with the rear. And then as soon as you see that this extra turf here, you know, enters your FOV and your cupcake cam, you can start applying some throttle, as you can see here. And then, you know, applying throttle makes the car rotate even more, and you get a very nice exit towards the next corner. Here again, going all the way on the right to maximize the track width, and then braking. I would say reference point is the new motorcycle track here on the left side. So when you're going towards that, you can start braking, as you can see. And here is very important not to engage the ABS. So very, as you can see, light braking. And then you get trail braking into the corner. As soon as you realize that you're on the apex, smash the throttle. LMU track limits here, at least as today, even on strict, are very easy here, to be fair. So you can even get away with going a little bit outside of the track. This wasn't the case, but you can do it. And then we're going downhill towards Pouhon. Here again, massive is the braking point. I just put it right. So I have, you know, these Toyota Gazoo Racing advertisement boards. You have 4 of them, and I like to basically brake in the middle, in between them. Sometimes you can even carry more speed and brake towards the second one, but if you want to be a little bit safer, I would say just brake in the middle, as I'm doing in this lap. Sometimes if you go too deep into the corner and you have to apply more brake, the rear will just snap on you crazy. So I would say you can get away with braking basically in between, in the middle of them. I stayed in 4th. With some other cars you might have to go from 5th to 4th, but then yeah, trail braking to the corner nicely, then just let the car rotate with the rear, as you can see. And then as soon as you hit the curb, same as always, you realize you're on the, you know, on the right path for the exit, on the right line. You just smash the throttle and be careful of track limits here. Again, not the case, but be careful here, and then we can just smash the throttle towards the Pif-Paf chicane. Here again, braking point. You have 2 options. First one, I actually have my graphic settings on high right now, so I can see this shadow. But sometimes when you get the graphic detail lower, you can't see it. So I would say that the main reference point would be the curb with this line. And I like to basically to brake at the shadow when I see it, or just before the white line if you don't see the shadow. So as you can see here, I start braking at the shadow, and then pretty important braking zone here again, just engaging the ABS at the beginning, then releasing the brake to get rotation on the rear. As you can see, the car starts moving with the rear towards the curb, and You just kiss it gently. You have to try to open the track as much as you can for the left, and we can just go faster here. And then for the second one, I just applied a little bit of brake. You can also not do it. I like to do it because I like to cut these again green extra turf. That is my reference point from when I have to apply the throttle, as it was in Bruxelles a couple of minutes earlier, sorry. And yeah, so as soon as I see this extra turf here, this green one, I know that if I cut it right, I can just smash the throttle down and I will be within track limits with good traction. So this is what happens here. Extra turf, start applying the throttle, cutting the corner nicely, just playing with the throttle that tiny bit. In slow motion it seems like forever, but at normal speed would be 2 or 3 tenths of a second, where you just have to play with the throttle pressure, and then you're just basically good to go for here the exit of the track. Almost perfect, just going a little bit wide on the sand here, on the gravel. Doesn't make much of a difference lap time wise, because you gain so much exiting the corner, applying the throttle so early without invalidating the lap, that even if you get there and you lose 3 milliseconds, doesn't make much of a difference. And then we're going into Stavilot. So here again, braking point is very important. You have 2 reference points here, the Goodyear advertisement and the curb. What I like to do is to brake in between of them, and in this case I'm in 3rd gear, and I will downshift into 2nd. You can even stay in 3rd. These cars have enough torque to actually have good exit and even safer exit, even in 3rd as well. And especially in the race, it's safer. It's probably more consistent because you don't downshift, so you don't lose the rear. And I would do that in the race. In quali we have to maximize everything, so you will downshift into 3rd. And in this case again, nice trail braking. And guess what? We also have here another magnificent green extra turf on the inside that is gonna be your reference point. So as soon as I clip that, I know that I can actually start applying throttle. And it's a late apex. You can't go too early on the apex here, because otherwise you would just lose a lot of exit speed. And exit speed here is crucial, because as it was for turn 1, here you're gonna have a good 25-30 seconds of just full throttle. So here as well, trying to maximize the exit. The curves unsettle the car that tiny bit, but just if you have a good setup like ours, it doesn't make much of a difference. And then here, just perfectly aligned with the gravel, and this is where you have to be, because you get the best exit and the best opening for the second part of Stavilot. That is easy flat, but if you were too much on the right, it would be less easy, and especially in the race you will probably wear out your tires a lot more if you had to apply every single lap a little bit more steering to make it flat, and you would lose probably 5% at the end of the stint on just the front left. So Stavilot 2, easy flat in this case. And then we're coming towards the last corner, the last braking zone. That is the bus stop. And here there's not much to say. It's just flat. Blanchimont is flat. And then coming towards the braking zone, the heaviest braking zone of the track. Again, braking point, braking markers are very important, and references are very important as well. And usually you get this line here, and in the race, as long as the race goes on, and the tire wear and the brake wear as well plays a role. You probably might have to start thinking, okay, I need to brake at the white line. But here we are in quali and we can do, maximum push, maximum brake pressure as we can. The brakes are new, the tires are new, so we're gonna extend our, full throttle part. And I like to brake basically. Here's the under 50-meter board, and here's the Avis advertisement. Here's the other one. I would say that I'm in the middle of them, probably a little bit towards the second one, but I like to brake, basically thinking about that I'm almost in the middle of the two Avis advertisement. And then you just smash the brake. In this case you will apply this much pressure, it will engage the ABS, but the car will do its job. You have to trust the car, and as you can see here, I'm basically all the way inside the corner with maximum brake pressure. I am now starting to release the brake pressure, and as soon as I do that, ABS disengaged and we hit a perfect apex here. So first part of the bus stop is done. The second one, you can probably do a couple of different lines, but I would say the best thing to do is to just follow the game, the in-game trajectory here with the rubber, and trying to hit I wouldn't say a late apex, but not even an early apex, just in the middle. As you can see, a late apex will mean that you will be wider here to get better exit speed. Probably earlier apex will be on this sausage curve here. You just want to clip the apex, and as soon as you do, you start applying the throttle, and then it's again a matter of trusting your setup, trusting your car, and start to apply. This is the TC bouncing, of course. It's not me doing like this with the pedal, but it's the TC working. And as soon as the TC stops working, you can see that it's flat out, and this is pretty much it. So we're coming towards the line, and we are finishing our lap guide of Spa-Francorchamps. So yeah, this was my first time. So hopefully you got some useful details. That's all from me. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you can go out and win your splits when doing LMU online. And then of course, if you like the video, then please subscribe. That will help the Hymo setup team a lot. And if you want to join the Discord, join the Discord. We have a very nice community on Discord, where not only there is people to speak, to chat with, but also a lot of us engineers. So if you have any question, about Hymo, about the setups, about anything, you can just, put it there on Discord, and any one of us will be able to answer. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye. See you on track on LMU. Ciao ciao.